Sometimes you suddenly feel someone watching you. You turn around expecting to find a face, but sometimes nobody is there at all. So why does your brain create that feeling? Your brain constantly decides what deserves notice. Faces are especially important sources of information. A direct gaze can instantly become meaningful. Your brain notices it extremely quickly. That sensitivity is useful for social life. It helps you recognize interest, danger, curiosity, and attention. It also helps you decide when interaction might happen. But the feeling of being watched is more complicated. You do not need certainty to become alert. Imagine walking alone through an empty parking lot. You suddenly hear footsteps behind you. Your body may become more alert immediately. You look around and search for movement. Now imagine noticing a face across a room. The eyes seem to point toward you. Suddenly, you become aware of your posture.
You might wonder how your expression looks. Your attention has moved toward yourself. Instead of only observing the world, you observe yourself. You start thinking about how another person sees you. Your heartbeat may suddenly seem louder. Your breathing may become unusually noticeable. Nothing outside you necessarily changed. The important change happened inside attention. But context changes what a gaze means. A friendly smile creates one interpretation. An angry face creates another. Your brain therefore reads gaze together with context. It does not simply detect two circles. That interpretation can happen extremely quickly. Sometimes you notice the feeling before the person. This helps explain why turning around feels automatic. You feel watched, so you investigate. That moment can feel almost supernatural. But there are ordinary explanations. Your peripheral vision constantly receives information, but it is very good at detecting movement. It can also notice broad shapes and orientations. Your brain may detect that signal automatically. You experience the result as intuition. Sometimes the person really was watching. Sometimes they were looking somewhere nearby. Human perception is not a perfect camera. Your brain constantly fills gaps between observations. It predicts what might be happening next. But predictions can also create false alarms. A moving shadow might be a person. Your brain benefits from checking anyway. The cost of looking around is usually small. This creates a cautious attention system. It does not mean your brain sees danger everywhere. Social situations add another layer. Other people can judge, remember, and react. You know this because you do the same thing. So possible observation can feel important. You may wonder what someone noticed about you.
You may predict how they might judge you. That is where self-consciousness becomes powerful. You become both observer and observed. Normal behavior can suddenly feel like a performance. Your hands can feel like they need instructions. Small movements become strangely noticeable. This effect can become stronger when you are nervous. Social anxiety can also make gaze feel more important. But anxiety is not the only explanation. Different people interpret ambiguous gaze differently. Context and expectations matter enormously. If you expect people to stare, ambiguous faces stand out. If you expect nobody to care, they may not. That is useful because sensory information is incomplete. You rarely receive perfect evidence about attention, so your brain combines signals with predictions. Sometimes they are reasonable guesses. Sometimes they feel more certain than they should. The feeling itself can be completely real. The conclusion behind it can still be wrong. The sensation does not require a conscious decision. It can appear before you know why. Your brain noticed something before you identified it, or it generated a prediction from weak information. There is another interesting question about watching eyes. Can images of eyes change our behavior? Researchers have tested this in different experiments. People sometimes become more concerned about being observed, but these findings have important limitations. So eyes are powerful social signals, not magic. Context still matters. Your brain cares whether another agent is actually present. Believing someone can see you can change your response. Physiological responses can become stronger when observation is possible. Those responses can change when observation becomes impossible. This suggests that belief can influence experience. It is not simply reacting to the shape of pupils. Imagine being alone in your bedroom. Your attention instantly moves toward the doorway. You imagine that someone could be there.
You may predict how they might judge you. That is where self-consciousness becomes powerful. You become both observer and observed. Normal behavior can suddenly feel like a performance. Your hands can feel like they need instructions. Small movements become strangely noticeable. This effect can become stronger when you are nervous. Social anxiety can also make gaze feel more important. But anxiety is not the only explanation. Different people interpret ambiguous gaze differently. Context and expectations matter enormously. If you expect people to stare, ambiguous faces stand out. If you expect nobody to care, they may not. That is useful because sensory information is incomplete. You rarely receive perfect evidence about attention, so your brain combines signals with predictions. Sometimes they are reasonable guesses. Sometimes they feel more certain than they should. The feeling itself can be completely real. The conclusion behind it can still be wrong. Now imagine seeing a vague face in darkness. Even a simple shape can become highly important. Eyes are especially informative because they reveal direction. They can suggest attention without a single word. Your brain extracts these clues very quickly. That can make intuition feel mysterious. But intuition is often compressed perception. You notice the result without noticing the calculation. That does not make intuition infallible. So what should you do when you feel watched? Do not automatically treat the feeling as proof. Pause and calmly check your surroundings. Ask what evidence you can actually see. Is someone clearly looking at you? Could a reflection explain what you noticed? Could a sound have triggered your attention? That pause separates sensation from conclusion. Sometimes you discover someone really was watching. Both outcomes are normal parts of perception. The important thing is understanding the difference. A feeling can also be convincing without being accurate. Human perception works through probabilities, not perfect certainty. Your brain constantly estimates what matters. Only surprising ones become noticeable experiences. Feeling watched is one of those experiences. That combination makes the sensation powerful. It explains why turning around feels automatic. Is there someone there? Are they looking at me? Those questions can appear within seconds. Humans evolved in groups where other people mattered. Cooperation required knowing where others were looking. Threats could also come from other humans. Missing an important social signal could have consequences. But useful systems do not have to be perfect. A sensitive system will sometimes overreact. A smoke alarm can react to burnt toast. Your attention system can react to ambiguous gaze. It means the system is sensitive. Modern life gives that old system new situations. Instead of rival groups, we encounter strangers online. Instead of watching the horizon, we watch notifications. But the underlying social machinery remains old. It still asks what they might want. It still asks what they think about you. That is why a quiet room can suddenly feel different. That is why you sometimes turn around for no reason. You simply did not experience the processing itself. So the next time you feel watched, remember this. It is scanning for socially important information. It is checking faces, eyes, movement, and context. It is predicting what other people might do. Sometimes it produces a harmless false alarm. Neither outcome is particularly mysterious. Attention can shift in a fraction of a second. Self-awareness can rise, and your body can react. Why do I feel like someone is watching me? Because your brain is built to notice attention. The feeling is real, even when the watcher is not, and that may be the most human part.